What's up, everybody? A Left It Wall update. Left It Wall is now available on Tubi. What does that mean? That means you get to watch it for free. I know there's so many streaming services out there, so many monthly fees, that sometimes renting or buying something just seems like a pain and yet another expense. Well, now it's available free. If you're not already using Tubi, I highly recommend it. You can get it on your smart TV, or you can just watch it online on your computer. Just type in Left It Wall movie, and the Tubi link should come up as one of the available ways to watch it. So if you haven't watched it yet, come on. Now you've got to. Left It Wall on Tubi. Episode 110. Bill Conway. Bill Conway is a comedian, writer, and co-founder of The Hard Times. The Hard Times is basically The Onion, but for punk rock. You've probably already heard of The Hard Times, or you've pretty much definitely seen one of their headlines before. Recently, Bill decided, after over a decade, that it was time for him to step down from The Hard Times. How do we know when it's time to say goodbye to a creative endeavor, especially when it's a successful one? Please welcome to the show, Bill Conway. Bill Conway, how are you? Good to see you.
Oh, I've never been better. Today it's a great day. It's a great day.
It's such a great time, man. Everything's great.
Yeah, the state of the world is perfect. We finally have peace in the Middle East. What could go wrong?
We're solving all the problems.
Yeah,
just all of them.
Bringing law and order back to the streets of America. Finally, this country's gone to hell. But thankfully, we find it is amazing that there are people that might not understand sarcasm and be like, "Oh, just like an ice presence," It's like, no, please understand. I'm very against that. For any of you that can't pick up on cues,
I think the people listening to this show will pick up on it. But I hear you, man. Yeah, it's wild. There's some people that unironically parrot that stuff. Like, oh, we finally have someone looking out for law and order. How could you live in a country like the United States and walk around and just be like, you know what, we need more police. We don't have enough of it. We need more.
What happened to everybody not liking the police? Like, there was a time I remember in my life that nobody liked the cops. And now there seems to be people, when a cop is driving behind you, instead of your asshole tightening up and being like, shit, they're going to pull me over for some bullshit thing, I'm going to take it. They're saluting them in their rearview mirror. Thank you, officer. Oh, I'm so glad you're here to fucking do this. Fucking clown show, man. I don't understand it. But...
And they're not even enough now. We need ICE too.
Yeah,
the cops aren't enough. We need these unmarked vehicles and these masked people to just kind of kidnap people in the country. That's what we need now. It's amazing. It's oh my God. Well, so let's start at the beginning. I've been wanting to have you on the show for a while. You have some very significant life news that we're going to work our way up to that I'm real excited to learn about. But of course, let's start at the beginning, man. Where are you from? I think I know this, but where are you from?
I'm from the deeper than the suburbs of Boston, more it's right on the edge of rural Massachusetts. You could almost say, to a point, some people might disagree with that, but I'm from the South Shore of Massachusetts, where there's cranberry bogs and cows and all that sort of stuff. So about an hour outside of Boston is where I grew up.
That's a beautiful area. My wife's from the Cape Cod area, and I love it up there. It's so cool.
I was off of Route 3, so I was halfway between Cape Cod and Boston. So if you ever travel down Route 3, you would have to get off one of those exits and drive another 20 minutes to get to my hometown of
Hanson, Massachusetts.
That's right. Right off of Route 58, baby. Home of Ocean Spray Cranberry Factory. That's where it was founded, okay? So that's
you're welcome.
Claim to fame. Yes, exactly. And then that place that used to be Ocean Spray, when it closed down, and then it became practice space for every local crappy punk band in the greater South Shore area. So every band would practice in these rehearsal spaces that used to be the Ocean Spray Cranberry Factory.
That is pretty cool, actually. But I want, so how did you find your way to punk rock then?
Let's see. That would be my older. I have a younger brother, but I also have an older cousin that I was very close with early on, and he went through maybe like a 3-month punk phase, and so it introduced me to a lot of bands when I was in like sixth grade. Sixth grade, I got into like bands like heavy bands like Korn and stuff like that, like new metal stuff, and I was like, "This is it, man."
That wave.
Yeah, like this is the next, like I found my thing. And then my cousin was like, hold on, there's this thing called Victory Records. Here's this band Earth Crisis and this band Warzone. And I was like, wait, this is even better than that. And so he quickly fell off of that, thing. And I latched onto it even more. And I've always been straight edge since I was 12 years old. So the straight edge bands of the time, I distinctly remember, this is, almost tough to admit, but I think I was maybe 12 years old, and on my Christmas wish list, I had 2 CDs that I wanted my mother to buy me. One of them was Minor Threat's complete discography. The other was Guttermouth's Musical Monkey, and she got me Minor Threat, and I remember being slightly disappointed that I didn't get the Guttermouth thing, but now in hindsight, I'm like, wait, Minor Threat is leagues above Guttermouth in every way, shape, or form. And so she made the right choice in that moment, even though a 12-year-old definitely can relate a little bit more to Guttermouth's terrible, juvenile lyrics rather than Minor Threat, So, from there, it was just a constant stream of, underground music in that genre. All my high school was Dead Kennedys, Black Flag, Minor Threat, and all that sort of stuff. And then I just happened to be around Boston around the time of maybe the third wave of Boston hardcore, Your American Nightmare, Suicide Files, Have Heart, and all those like big bands that came out of that generation. So I got to experience those bands firsthand as they were coming up.
Wow. Yeah. So, for me, it's like I discovered Minor Threat pretty early on too. And I want to talk to you about the straight edge thing because I never connected with that part of it, but I did take away, and I probably didn't even realize it at the time because I was like 12, but I did take away from it that, you can be yourself and you don't need to feel pressure to do anything you might not want to do. So even though I chose very early on to try alcohol, try whatever else, I never felt pressured to do it. I did it because I wanted to, and that was that. So it's like even though I didn't connect with the straight edge part of it in the literal sense, I did still take away a positive message from it. So
right.
So what connected you to the straight edge part, and what does being straight edge mean to you exactly?
So I've thought about this a lot because my brother and I are both straight edge, and I think you can picture drug use on a spectrum where there's some people that are far to one side that only want to get fucked, like they just have a natural inclination to want to get fucked up and try everything all the time. And then there's the far other side that have no desire to touch anything. And I've always just had no desire, no curiosity at all. Like it's never been appealing to me. It would be like the same. It's like the same appeal of like, here's a handful of dirt. Do you want to eat this dirt? Like, I don't think that would be good. I don't want to eat the dirt. And that's how it just, all of it appeals. Like there's nothing about it that I was like, I want to give that a try. That seems fun. And so I think if there were no word straight edge, that was a definition, a subculture, all this stuff that you can wrap a personality around, I still think I would probably be almost entirely drug-free, like regardless of that. I just don't think I have the drive to want to try any of that. So regardless of the subculture, I think I just naturally fall into it. And then there's also a word for it. And I just happen to also have come up in that punk scene where the word means something. So,
yeah. Well, if I
yeah.
gave you, I mean, if you had a beer in one hand and a pile of dirt in the other, I mean, I think you would probably enjoy the beer more, right? I mean, not like.
I mean, I'm also vegan.
I mean, I'm not suggesting you try it, but
yeah, well, so I'm wondering, like, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, or they're equally as bad to me. Like I don't know. Like, yeah, I think you can consume more beer a little bit more easily than a handful of dirt. But yeah, they have the same appeal to me and probably the same effect at the end of the day where I'm like, well, don't need that again.
So you did try it at one point and you weren't into it. No, you didn't. Okay. You were just like, don't. Okay.
Never had a sip, never took a puff of a cigarette, nothing. Legitimately. All right, wait, hold on. I may have had alcohol in my mouth one time because I was in France, a little town called Marseille, and I'm skateboarding by myself, and I don't have anything to drink. It's a kind of a warm day, and I'm like, I just need to get some fluids in me. And I went to like a little French bistro thing, and I grabbed what I thought was apple cider or like an apple juice, and I started to drink a little bit of it, and I was like, that tastes like alcohol, and I spit it out. And I was like, that. So I was like, I don't know what this is, and I couldn't read the label. I was like, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. So that's probably the closest I ever came to actually consuming alcohol. But yeah, so thanks a lot, France. You fucking assholes.
Yeah, I guess I can relate on some degree though, because I've never had a puff of a cigarette, and a lot of people like they find that it's honestly just it never appealed to me. The smell always really grossed me out, and I always just had no desire. It just sounded like a really expensive habit I did not need, and so I just never had the desire to try a cigarette, to the point where I got myself one time. So I went to an all boys high school, and there was an all girls high school across the street. And sometimes like before school, we'd all like fraternize or whatever. And one time, one of the teachers from the all girls school came outside, and they can't do anything to you if you're at the all boys school. So what would happen is the girls that had cigarettes in their hand would like give them to the guys to hold because they couldn't do anything to us. So this girl, and she was an upperclassman and I was a freshman, and she gives me a cigarette. She's like, help me out. I'm like, I got you. And I'm holding the cigarette. And the person that came out happened to be like good friends with my parents. And, and he goes, Ron, is that you smoking? And what can I do? I was just like, yeah. And then I told my parents,
like, you're holding it wrong and everything. You're like, I don't even know what this is,
Yeah, I was totally holding it weird. Like I wasn't holding it right. And so he might have known what was going on, honestly. But I told my mom about it because my mom's, a little more chill than my dad. And I was like, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. I have no desire to ever smoke a cigarette. I think it's gross. I hate the smell. I don't want to have to pay for them. But this happened. I was just trying to help this girl stay out of trouble. I don't think I did anything wrong. But if you get a phone call, that's the freaking truth. And, and my mom just goes, I believe you. And she goes, I hope we don't get a phone call because I don't know if your dad will be as cool about it. But we never got that phone call. And that was it.
Oh, that's good.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny with smoking, especially in LA. I don't like when on like a hot summer day when I'm like behind somebody smoking a cigarette. It's like, how are you smoking? It's 98 degrees out. How are you fucking doing this? Like, it doesn't seem like an activity. It's not a warm weather activity to me. Like I can understand smoking on an East Coast fall day or something. Like, I can understand maybe the appeal of it. Not that I want to do it, but a hot summer day, people smoking, absolutely insane to me. It's just bonkers behavior.
I think for some people, for a lot of people, obviously, it's just like the social thing.
Yeah.
Which I get that to a degree, but I also don't get it that much. I mean, I've been in situations before where it's like everybody at my day job, I was the only non-smoker. They'd be like, we're going to take a smoke break. Do you want? And I'd stand a little distance because I didn't want to be breathing in again, because it's gross. Like, it's just gross to me, but I would like stand at a distance and socialize. And I didn't feel I mean, I didn't. Oh man, I wish I had a cigarette in my hand. I could participate in this conversation more. Like I didn't feel like I was missing out by just not having a cigarette in my hand. You know.
Also, you need to go take those breaks too. If somebody else is getting breaks because of that
Right.
shit, like you should get a fucking break too. I mean, come on, like
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, so what about? Because I know that there's different kind of subcultures around this, and some of them are quite. Some of them are, in my opinion, a little extreme. What about the sex part? Was that part of it for you or no?
Look, it's not really a part of it for anybody. Like it's
Really
enough, like
okay.
it's the people that it might be a thing for are probably more like religious nut jobs who are also pulling things like, oh wait, this is punk, this is rebellion, and I can actually have these sort of beliefs encapsulated in this thing that I think is cool. But I've never met a straight edge person that's like, I'm saving myself for marriage or this and that of purity or whatever. Because yeah, it's kind of dumb, you know, like it's legitimate. And I don't even think that was if you were to have Ian on, I don't think that was his original intention of those lyrics, and not that those lyrics were ever meant to be anything more than a song anyway, and people misinterpret them, and it's the bane of his existence for his entire life. But that seems to be.
Oh, I think there's a different song that he would really want to give qualifiers for if he could, and he has for many years.
Oh, yes, I know the one.
Yeah. I think that song he wrote from the perspective of a teenager and did not realize how that would be interpreted.
Yes.
I think if he could take one out of his catalog, that's the one he'd pick. But
I'm honestly surprised that song hasn't been picked up by like right wing nut jobs and been like, hey, this is this.
Oh,
it
has.
Oh, it
I
has.
mean,
Okay, I just haven't seen it.
I mean, it totally has. And he would tell those stories, and I'm sure you've seen that, where it's like those types of people would show up to Minor Threat shows, and they'd be like, yeah, we get it, and he'd be sitting there like, this was a song about my high school, and I did not think it through, and I'm older now, and I realize, but I think even I heard an interview with him once on the straight edge thing, and he said, he's like, yeah, the don't fuck thing wasn't literal. I just meant like I don't, just get hammered and sleep around with a bunch of people. That was what I meant.
Yeah.
And so I think that's mostly how it's interpreted. But a buddy of mine who was really he was in like a lot of hardcore bands throughout the 90s and even into like the early aughts. And he told me like there's certain, like you brought up the religious thing. There's certain parts of like the hardcore scenes in Utah where it's like they do take that part quite literally, but apparently anal doesn't count.
Of course, why would it?
Like that's just, I'm like, wow, okay. So it's like, we don't fuck. Well, except I mean, anal's fine, but
right, yeah. The most depraved part of fucking. Let's do that one, But yeah, it's absolutely insane. Those sort of religious like sects of straight edge, like especially out of Utah, were particularly violent in like the 90s, and that's what you would see on like Hard Copy and stuff like that. Like these violent straight edge militants are this, and I can guarantee none of those people are straight edge anymore. Not a single one of them. Like it is because people that take it that seriously that it's like, calm down, dude. What are you trying to prove? Like what's actually on your mind here? So yeah, nobody that's that militant about things is still straight edge. That's a guarantee. Take that to the bank.
It's one of those like silent sinners scream the loudest too. Like the people that are like, I am straight edge and I will just knock a beer out of your hand. But they're the ones that, secretly aren't at all.
Yeah,
and then there's people that
sippers,
just like,
baby.
Yeah. And then there's people like you that are just like, yeah, just never appealed to me. And yeah, just not my thing. That, you've never had a sip of anything. Like, well, except for France. But you're open about it.
Yeah, I didn't inhale. That's the thing.
Did it taste okay to you, or was it just really gross?
Since it was not the taste I was expecting, I was alarmed by it. So I was like, wait, what is this? And then I like looked at the bottle. I was like, this, here's the thing. It might not have been alcohol at all. It could have just been a different sort of apple drink that they have in France, but it wasn't what I was expecting it to taste like. I was expecting a Mott's type apple juice, just like smooth apple juice, and that's not what I got. And I was like, "Whoa, hold on a second. Let me just I'll put this to the side. I'll go back to my my hostel and just get some water there." But so France, man, I tell you, never going back. That's we're done. Wiping them off the map.
Oh man, poor France.
Yeah, they did it to themselves.
They need more clearly marked juice in France.
Exactly. Please, France. This is the main thing you need to work on is your juice labeling.
So, did skateboarding come from punk, or punk come from skateboarding, or a little bit of both?
Same cousin in that brief 3-month punk period also was into skateboarding. And so around the time in my neighborhood, I lived in a small street, so all the kids that were around my age, we all hung out together, played in the woods and all that. And somebody, their older brother, had like a skateboard that became a communal skateboard throughout the entire neighborhood. And all of us kind of fucked around on it for a week, but I kept being like, I want to ride that thing every single day. So then on my 12th birthday, my mother bought me like a complete off of CCS, out of the CCS magazine. And that was it. And I've been skateboarding for 29 years now. Yeah. So 29 years. Dude. Yeah. It all started when I was 12, still skating. But yeah, just this was like before like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater introduced the world to like punk and skateboarding, like it was just like a thing of like, yeah, this all makes sense to me. Well, we listen to punk music, we trespass and we skateboard, this is what it's all about. And that's it all came together around the same exact time, just kind of fortuitous, where I had that one cousin who was a good influence in that way. And then he went, a year later, just went in a completely different direction. He's just a regular ass dude. He's got a wife, got a couple kids, sells stuff on eBay, and that's about it. But
you ever send him any playlists or anything? Try to get him back into it.
I haven't really talked to him all that much. These for the past, I don't know, 3 decades almost. We kind of just lost touch when he got into high school, and we kind of just lost touch after that. And it was like, all right, well, since our parents aren't forcing us to be around each other by like their sisters, so they want to hang out, well then, we have our own lives, and so we just went our separate ways. And and he became a normal ass guy, and I'm just like a fucking punk, man. Just punk as hell.
Dude, that was kind of like the nucleus for me too, because I know you and I are pretty much the same age, and we would skateboard in the parking lot of our local Taco Bell, and then we would get kicked out, and then we would have band practice, and that was our lives. That was just how we spent our days. It was actually a really cool time. I was pretty bad at skateboarding. I was like the last person out of my friends that could even pull off an ollie, and I never was able to pull off anything else. But I still loved all the stuff around it, and I loved, because that was back when like you would pass those VHS videos around, like Chris Sen and people like that, and just these random skateboarders that like existed in the underground, and then the Tony Hawk video games came out, and then there was Jackass and all that. MTV's Jackass was just like, when that came out, I was just like, we were watching this stuff on VHS years ago.
Right. Yeah, they're repurposing things from the Big Brother skateboard magazines and CKY videos that like we've all seen already, knew all the things. And it's like, I remember Jackass came out when I was a senior in high school, and I remember telling like the other kids in my class, like, you should watch this. You will find this very funny. Trust me. Like, I've seen it already. Like, watch it. Like, you will find this. And then it created like its own, like a series of monsters of like, oh, now everybody's doing the thing that my friends and I were already been doing for the past 2 or 3 years, and now the jocks are doing it. Fuck. Like, get these. Who let the jocks have a video camera and get them away from the shopping carts, because that was our thing.
And then during like the second, I don't know, pop punk emo wave, whatever you want to call it, and then everyone started getting into it too, and it was like kids that kids that you would never expect were wearing T-shirts you never expected to see them in, and you'd see them at shows. And I mean, I wasn't like mad about it, but I was just like, "Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
cool."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, there was a lot of things that like would catch me off guard and be like, I had no idea. Like, we agree on this. What else do we agree on? But it's very, very few things. It's like, oh, you're big into motocross, and you also like a couple pop punk bands. All right, that's interesting. But yeah, just weird times. A weird pre-internet way of getting information, which obviously doesn't exist anymore.
So speaking of the internet, you helped find an outlet that kind of encapsulates all the stuff we're talking about with a wicked sense of humor, and that is the Hard Times, which been a fan for many years. I mean, that's how you and I met. But yeah, man. So give me the Hard Times origin story.
So the Hard Times started in 2014. Technically, we first published in December of 2014, but we had been working on it for a couple months before that. And I had been doing a podcast called Edgeland, which is a podcast where I talk to straight edge and formerly straight edge people about the world of straight edge and what it means to them and how they navigate the world. Like, the people that used to be straight edge, I'd ask them, why aren't you straight edge anymore? And they would give me pretty honest answers. Some of them made them uncomfortable. Some people they were able to answer honestly. But through that, I met a guy named Matt Sankum. He was the singer of a band called Zero Progress, a straight edge band from the Bay Area. And Zero Progress had kind of been doing some almost like wrestling promo style stuff, like to be like, and I saw it and I was like, this guy is funny. He's doing like a satirical thing as a front man to whip people up and get them, not pissed off, but just like worked up a little bit. And so him and I kind of hit it off on the podcast. And then like a month or two later, I saw him post on Facebook of all places, like, hey, I want to start like the Onion for punk. And I was like, yeah, well, I responded to that. And I was like, this sounds like a great idea. Let's do this. And I think I went home and wrote as many headlines as I could because I was such a fan of the Onion over those, I think I discovered the Onion in like 1999. And, so the Onion voice was just like, I have all the Onion books. I always read the Onion, so that satirical voice is in my head. And I was like, let's do this. So we started in 2014. We sort of worked closely together, and then it slowly kind of picked up momentum, like right away. We noticed like one of the Ron Reyes from Black Flag was sharing articles on Facebook, and we're like, how the fuck did one of the singers of Black Flag find this article? So that's when we kind of realized, like, does this have legs here? Like, did we hit on something? But yeah, so it got kind of popular relatively quick, and it's been a slow build ever since then. It's been almost 11 years now that we've been around.
Well, the first thing I found was the Danzig roast. You did like a Central Danzig roast, and that was so freaking funny. Did you write that one?
No, that was written by a guy named Drew Kaufman, who also worked on 2 Minutes to Late Night, that New York like variety show that they did in Brooklyn. But yeah, so I'm looking up, that was March 30th, 2015. So that was only 3 or 4 months after we started the website that you would have been turned on to that. So yeah, you've been around since almost day one, Ron.
Been around since almost day one, dude. Yeah. So were you doing stand-up at this time, or?
I think I had been doing stand-up for about 3 years when we started it.
And where was this?
I started doing stand-up in San Francisco, mainly at a place called Brainwash.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I've been there. The laundromat.
That's good. That's it.
Yes.
The Thursday open mic hosted by Tony Sparks, that a lot of great comics have gone through. I think Ali Wong actually kind of got her start at Brainwash. But so then my wife and I decided to move to Portland in 2013. And so the Hard Times technically started when I lived in Portland, and Matt was in the Bay Area. So depending on how you want to, credit the hard times. It was either Portland or the Bay Area is like the origin point. But and yeah, so I've been doing it for about 3 years, and yeah, it was just it was my my second hobby, where stand up was, what I did. And then like the hard times was below that, but then the hard times got more popular. And yeah, I was like, I think I'm a little bit better at the hard times than I am at stand up. I'll continue to nurture this a little bit more.
So wait, what fill in a quick gap for me here. What brought you out to the Bay Area from rural Massachusetts?
So a friend of mine, his name's Anthony Hook. He currently one of the tour managers for the Lumineers, and he was moving out to San Francisco with a friend of his who bailed at the last minute. And my friend, we call him Hook. Him and I had become close like over like the last year before he had moved. Like, it was one of those things. He was from 2 towns over from me, but we didn't meet up until like we were in our 20s. But so many people would be like, you should meet this guy Hook. Like, you guys would get along. And I'd always hear his name. And then we finally did meet, and we did get along. It was like, oh yeah, we really hit it off, us two. Everybody was right about this guy. And so one of his friends kind of bailed semi last minute on the move to San Francisco. And he's like, Bill, do you want to move to San Francisco? And I was like, yes, I do. So I had nothing going on in Massachusetts at the time. So we moved out. We lived on my friend Matt's floor for a month while we tried to look for places. This was a time in San Francisco, 2007, 2008, where the tech boom was starting to creep back up. Like, it wasn't there yet, but, the dot-com bubble had burst. And now a couple of years had passed, and San Francisco was going to come back up on the upswing. And so rents were very competitive. Like, we would go to open houses. There'd be a line of 50 people outside, and
Wow.
we'd get to the front, and there'd be a guy there would be like talking to the realtor or whoever's renting it and be like, I'll pay double. I'll pay cash every month. Here's my business card. I'm a lawyer. My daughter wants to live here. And like, we'd be like, okay, I guess we're not getting this spot.
God.
And, so we ended up moving to Oakland for a year. And, but yeah, so lived in the Bay Area for 6 years, started stand up there, and yeah, enjoyed. I mean, I loved San Francisco at that time, but we moved right when like the tech boom was, like, the Google buses were starting to come around to bus people out of the city down to wherever the Google headquarters are. Like Lyft and Uber were just taking off. So you'd see these stupid cars with mustaches driving around on the front of them. And yeah, you could see the city changing, not for the better, in my opinion. So yeah, my wife and I went to Portland from there and continued doing stand up there. And that's where the hard times started, was when I lived there.
And then what made you go to LA?
So since I had been doing stand up for a while, like, my wife and I had like talked about, like, let's say best case scenario happens, like let's say lightning strikes. Like, I asked her, would you ever want to move to LA or Los Angeles or something like that? And she's like, I would never want to move to Los Angeles, like never. And I was like, okay. Cause I always kind of wanted to move to LA. But then one day she just woke up and she was like, do you want to move to LA? And I was like, do you? And she's like, yes, I do. And so I was like, all right, let's move to Los Angeles. So again, we packed up, and it was 2018, and we moved to LA. So it was really because she wanted to. I still don't actually know why.
What would she do?
She was working as a baker at the time. So it wasn't like LA's the baking hub of, the West Coast, where she just needed to get down to LA to do it. But yeah, she's not even in that field anymore. And, but yeah, I just think she was sick of maybe the Portland dreariness, because it's just winter for 7 months in Portland. And now it gets like, it's hotter in Portland in the summers than it is in LA in the summers at this point. Yeah. So yeah, we moved down there. We had 1.5 good years before a pandemic hit. And then, then the world just got weird after that for everybody, where everything is just different now, and everybody acts fucking insane.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yeah.
So when did it get to the point where the Hard Times was able to be a full-time endeavor for you?
Yeah, that would have been 2019. So I had lived in LA for maybe 6 months. I was working at a hardware store in Silver Lake called Ballard Hardware, a relatively known hardware store in the East Los Angeles. And my co-founder Matt was like, "Hey, I think we can make this work to make you full-time if we do like X. Like if you go full-time and we can ramp up the operations to do this, and this, then you should be able to be supported full-time because online publishing is not a lucrative career by any means.
Right.
It is not. If it was still the 2014 internet, then yeah, maybe. But the Hard Times has never made a lot of money because a lot of our content is being like, we should kill cops. And then it turns out advertisers don't really want to be associated with that, strangely enough. I don't know why. And just the way that Facebook and Google started doing like hyper targeted ads to people, it kind of destroyed the ad revenue of every internet platform, not just the Hard Times, but everything became more difficult to monetize through website traffic. And then the way social media platforms link to other sites, like Facebook used to push traffic to us. Now it does not push any traffic to us. But anyway, that's beside the point. But around 2019 is when it went full time. And then, so there was about a year and a half of that. And then 2020 came along. And this company called Project M was like, hey, we want to buy the Hard Times. And that was right around the time that the pandemic really hit globally and there was full shutdowns. And we were like, this is a good timing because without these guys coming in, we would have to either shutter or completely reevaluate. Like I go back to a full-time position, and this is just a hobby again. We're publishing one or two things, every so often, but they came along, they bought the company in 2020. We kind of had a contract where I was a W-2 employee for them, and the contract was like 4 years of employment. And at that point, I was about 6 years into the Hard Times, and I kind of had a thing in my head, like, when this contract is up, I want to be done with the Hard Times because that will put me at 10 years of doing this. Like my entire 30s was spent working on the Hard Times if I worked out that 4-year contract from 2020. And so I kind of had it in my head, like, the clock is now ticking. Let's start working on, let's make the Hard Times the best thing it can be, but it's got funding now. This company seems like a decent company, like they're doing the right things. Let's work from here. However, things went poorly with that company where they went out of business. They made some bad decisions as far as investments are concerned. And part of our contract was if they defaulted on any of the payments from when they bought us, we would get the company back in full, no problem. So they defaulted on some payments, Ron. And sure enough, we got the company back in full after like a brief legal thing where we were friendly with the people at Project M. So they were very helpful. Like we want you to have the Hard Times back too, so there was not too much static. We got it back before they sold like all their assets to basically Live Nation. So the other properties that were under that banner are now kind of Live Nation associated. We are not. We were completely independent. But basically, I went from full-time employment where I had a paycheck coming every 2 weeks, health insurance, to shit. Now we have to scramble. We have to figure out how to make money like through advertising again in this way and that way. So then started another year and a half of just like absolute sprinting, like burnout work as far as like publishing schedule and all this. And then we got bought again. We got acquired a little over a year ago by Sumerian Records. And so that was kind of like, all right, now I can rest again. So that's when I made the decision, which I think you'll probably get to, so I can just beat you to it, where I was like, now we've been acquired again. The Hard Times is in a comfortable position where there's people that can actually stand behind it and fund it on its own. Now might be the time that I can walk away comfortably and not have to worry about the future of the Hard Times. Just like, because I just have this obsession with it. Like if I stop working on it, then it's going to die, like sort of thing. So, but I think can be in a good place now where things go forward with this company, hopefully, but yeah, so I don't know when this comes out, but my last day at the Hard Times is going to be October 28th. And my wife and I go to Japan and I wipe my hands clean and I never look at the internet again. I will just done.
Well, what made you decide that you wanted to walk away from it?
Part of it was just like, what's the challenge? I get part of it is like the challenge isn't there for me. My day-to-day is very similar. Like, like I have fun doing it, of course, and I enjoy putting the content out, but it's no longer a challenge. However, it takes up a lot of my time to the point where my creative battery is worn down to the point where like I can't pursue other creative things because I'm so worn down from the Hard Times part of things that, like, let's say I want to do X, like I just don't have the mental capacity to do that. So it's like I just need to, if I want to pursue these other things, whether it be go back to stand up, do screenwriting, whatever, like the Hard Times is now a hindrance to that as opposed to like a value add for me. So that was kind of the thing for me, was just I've already had one foot in, one foot out for a while now. So instead of just continuing along and me being like holding things up, like I might as well just leave now and let the next guy have his chance to run this thing and keep it as a, I don't want to ruin it by sticking around too long and dragging my ass. You know what I mean? So like, I want it to have the ability to thrive on its own. And yeah, gotta let go. My co-founder, Matt, has been out for a while now, and
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. He's happier because of it. It's like, I did my time doing this and like, he's gotten opportunities and yeah, he's doing well for himself. So, similarly, I hope the same path for myself selfishly, but, so I just figured, now's the time, instead of just continuing to kind of drag my ass on it and stay in the, because there's somebody else that could want this job and inject some life into it that I'm not doing. You know what I mean? So let them do that, bring in some new ideas, or whatever, or they just continue exactly what we've been doing and they enjoy that as well. I don't know, but it's not. The job is also a 24/7 job a lot of times, where I know you are in tune with the news and all that stuff. So if my wife and I are out on a Saturday night and Trump falls down a flight of stairs and it's like, well, date night's cut short, I have to go home and come up with some ideas on Trump falling down some stairs and what's funny about that, So the work-life balance grind, it's... I'd like to get that back a little bit for myself, because like I said, every day of my 30s was spent working on the Hard Times. Lots of great memories, lots of great opportunities. But now it's like, let's slow things back down a bit. I don't need this all the time. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
Well, when you're doing something in like the online publishing space, like whether it's like a YouTube channel or, I guess a podcast is a little different because it's, like usually it's like once a week or something. So it's a little more manageable. But when you're doing something like what y'all are doing, like you said, there's a constant demand for content. Like it never goes away. So yeah, I can see how that would burn somebody. I've been there in different capacities, so I can relate.
Yeah, and there can also be a bit of a frustration when it's like, say we don't comment on like one story and then people are like, why aren't you saying anything about this? Like, do you guys support X? And it's like, no, we just didn't have a funny take on it. Like there was nothing good enough that we wanted to put out. Like, sorry, like moving on. Like, come on, guys, shut up.
Do you get a lot of that type of feedback? Or is it like...
Yeah, I mean, we get the gamut from the complainers who are like, why are you talking about this story when this is more important? Or the, hey, go kill yourselves, you're a bunch of fucking liberal cooks or whatever, So we get it all. You can't please everybody, but
it's like, how can you complain about, oh, this story is more important? It's a satire site.
Right. We're not actually news, like that's the thing is like,
do they not know that?
That's what I wonder sometimes is like, we're not an actual news source. We're responding to things that we see in the world. We're not breaking a story, like, sorry. We're just trying to comment on the story and give maybe a different perspective on things. But people are, I don't know if you know this, Ron, but people are a little fucked up on the internet,
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Man, you should look into this. Look at some YouTube comments.
Oh, dude, the road to hell is paved with YouTube comment sections.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, I mean, I look a little bit and it's just, I mean, it comes with a 100, well, I shouldn't say 100, but there's times where things surprise you in a good way. But a lot of the times you're just looking, it's just like, what made you think the world needs to see this? Like how, like a lot of times, I think my best auto reply to like most YouTube comics, not all of them, but a lot of them, is just, it's got to be so exhausting to wake up every day and be you. Like, right. Jesus Christ, man. Like, it's just...
Yeah, being you is a full-time job, man, because you are exhausting.
You are exhausting. Like, it's like the fact that you thought this, I mean, I don't even understand. The internet is this endless highway of shit. And a lot of it is shit, but a lot of it is also, I mean, you have access to any knowledge you want. You just have to dig for it. Right. Like, the fact that, why would you waste time watching something you don't like and then letting people know? Like, I don't even understand that. Like, there's not enough hours in the day. How could you justify that? Like, I just, if I'm watching something and I'm not into it, I just fucking move on immediately. I don't have like any interest in letting anyone know. Like I don't, like, who needs to know about this? Right. I guess if someone I know, like if my wife was going to watch, I'd be like, oh, I didn't really like that. I don't know if you'll like it. That'd be it. Like, I wouldn't, I got to leave a comment. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like,
it gives everybody, it used to be that somebody would be opinionated in your life and you just wouldn't talk to that person anymore because like, oh, they're insufferable. Like, I can't be around that person. Like, oh, they're going to be at the family dinner. I'm going to be on the other side of the table so I don't have to talk to them. But now those people get to go on the internet and just say things to strangers all day, and they become worse because of it. And yeah, like, why did we do this to ourselves? Why did we do it? Man, it's really foolish of us. But hey, that's progress.
Like they took out a step for letter to the editor, and now we're all living with the consequence. Yeah, because before it used to be like, well, you had to freaking really write this out and sign it if you wanted to be on the up and up, and then put postage on it, walk it to the mailbox. So you really did have something to say, and you thought about it. Now it's just like, nope, I'm not even going to spell check this. The world gets to see it right now, and it's a thing. It is a thing. Well, so what do you think you're going to do next?
So I don't have any concrete plans for the first time in my adult life. I'm just going to chill for a bit, so my wife and I have a trip to Japan planned. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to not take my computer. This will be the first vacation I've taken in 10 years where I haven't had my computer with me. So I have, just in case something happens and I need to work on the hard times or, whatever, and be like, there's been times where her and I have been on vacation where she's like, you're not going to work, are you? And then as soon as she gets in the shower, like, I'm on my laptop, like, you're like, all right, I have 30 minutes to do all the work I can right now. Instead, I'll just fucking chill, So we'll see what happens on the other side of it. I've got friends that have reached out and been like, there's this job that I have. It's not, it's not the hard times, but it will pay the bills. And it's like, maybe that's just what I want right now, is just a job to pay the bills and go back to working on creative outlets as a hobby instead of a livelihood, so
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm getting back to my roots of being just a guy that does stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a freedom in that.
Have you gotten any like fallout? Like, has there been any like "fuck you, Bill"?
No, everybody's been really friendly so far, thankfully. There's some of the contributors to the Hard Times have, said some really nice things and been like, oh, it's not going to be the same. And it's like, guys, everything will be fine. But thankfully nobody's been like, you suck, you've always sucked. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I just haven't seen those sorts of comments yet. So keep it to yourself if you got it. I don't fucking need to hear it.
Well, dude, I wish you all the best on whatever's next. First and foremost, enjoy Japan, dude. Have you ever been?
Yeah, no, first time.
I've only ever been to Tokyo, so I don't have a ton to base it, but it was one of the coolest experiences of my life. It's an amazing place, dude.
Yeah, very excited. I mean, there's not been a single person that has gone like, Japan? Oh, dude, what are you going to Japan for? Everybody's like, holy shit, enjoy. Japan, 100% approval rating so far.
Right on, dude. Well, normally at this point, I say, where can people go to learn more about you? So I'll still say it to you, although maybe that's a TBD type thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm on Instagram at I Hate Bill Conway. I don't post all that much, but follow the Hard Times at the Hard Times News on Instagram. Continue to support the Hard Times. Engage with the content. I'm around for another couple weeks, but after that, if there's something you don't like, don't blame me for it. All right, that's all. I'm out. I've washed my hands of it, but yeah, I want people to continue to support the Hard Times. I want it to grow bigger and better than when I was there, so I can look back and be like, hey, that was the thing I started. Instead of being like, whoa, geez, shit, that went to hell. So, hopefully it goes to bigger and better heights in the future.
Bill, thanks so much for doing this, man.
Oh, thank you, Ron.
That was Bill Conway, excited for whatever he does next. And check out the Hard Times. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar, but it is a wonderful outlet, and he will definitely be missed there. And it's, it's cool that there's just good vibes and well wishes all around. That's awesome to see. Music for the 1000 podcast is provided by Andrew Saxonov. Be sure to check out his podcast, the Bay Watching Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you're subscribed. I know it's weird, but make sure you're subscribed wherever you're getting your pods, especially if you get this on YouTube. I know YouTube is weird with the podcast. Leave us a 5-star review, would you? Tell your friends and drop us an email, ronplaconebooking@gmail.com, or you can just go to my website, ronplacone.com, use the contact form. Who do you want us to have on 1000? We're already over a tenth of the way through, so get those requests in. Before you know it, it's going to be nearly 20 years later, and we're going to be done with the project. It's wild to think about, but it really has already gone so fast. It's pretty nuts. And if you want to support the show, the sustainability end, best way to do that is over on Patreon, patreon.com/Ron Placone. For Give What You Can, Love It, you get all kinds of cool content. You get the 1,000 episodes before the release to the public. We do a Zoom hangout once a month. It's a really cool community, and that's all for Give What You Can level. Even $1 a month goes a long way. All right, 110. We're at another decade, a nice even decade. And you know what? We're at a decade, which is a turning point. And also, this week's guest is at a turning point in their life. So we're in theme, not even intentionally. Catch you next week. Peace. Hey guys, Ron Placone here. Take your own 1,000 challenge. No, you don't need to interview 1,000 people, although if you want to do that, go for it. Your 1,000 challenge can be whatever you want. Maybe you want to call a friend out of the blue once a week. Maybe you want to read a book every month. Maybe you want to start a different garden every season. I guess that might be dependent on where you live. Look, the point of the challenge is taking on an endeavor that enriches your life in some way, and it can be measured. And then, of course, you do it regularly. That's what 1000 is doing for me and hopefully for you too. The main reason for this podcast and every podcast I've ever done is to build community. So take your own challenge. Then join our Facebook group. It's called 1000 What's Your Challenge? ? That's 1000 What's Your Challenge ? And post about what your 1000 challenge is and the progress you're making. All I ask is that people be encouraging of each other's challenges. This is personal and vulnerable, so be cool. There's enough negativity on social media. We don't need to add to it. For those of you who aren't on Facebook, hopefully in the future we'll be expanding to places like Discord, Reddit, but for now, we're starting on Facebook. And again, that Facebook group is called 1000 What's Your Challenge? See you there.